Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids, and today we're looking at one of these. This is a Tops survival saw. They come in packs of 5 for $23.99. I got this from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. You can check it out. smkw.com is their website, smkw.com. And so the reason this intrigued me is because I'm always thinking about building survival kits and survival bags and things like that. And so I thought to myself, could this be a useful tool? At first I thought maybe for an Altoids tin, but it's too big for an Altoids tin, even when it is folded up. But then I thought, would it be useful in some sort of survival kit? So what I want to do here is I want to roll in footage right off the bat to show you what it looks like in use cutting through various materials. Now it is a hacksaw blade, as you can see there, so it's built for cutting through metal essentially. But I'm gonna show you what it looks like trying it on a bunch of different types of materials. Some it does a good job, some not so much, and then we'll talk about what some of the uses for this thing might be. Okay, let's take a look at the survival saw in action. I'm gonna actually try to cut some clothesline here, and as you can probably tell, it's just not gonna work well. I mean, a hacksaw blade, I guess you could sort of say it's like kind of serrated, but really it's just tiny little teeth, and they're so small they just get hung up on the material. So it's not built to cut paracord. It's not built to cut any kind of cordage like this. It's just not what it's made for. So you're probably not surprised that it just basically destroys the cordage as it goes through it. But you want a knife if you're going to be cutting a ton of cordage. This can do it if you had to, but not ideal for that type of use. Here you can see I'm cutting a nail. The hardest thing about cutting this nail was just basically keeping it in one place and having it not move. It's such a small little object. You can see that because it is a hacksaw blade, it's going to do the job. A bigger piece of metal is going to take more time to cut through, probably, obviously depending on the type of metal, but it's hard to actually cut a small piece of metal like this, just because it's kind of moving on the wood, which is a little damp anyhow. But you'll see, this definitely does the job. I'll pick it up and show you here in a second. There it is, and you can see, I mean, it's halfway through in a very short amount of time. I did find this thing was really good at cutting wood, honestly. So this was I wasn't totally shocked, but yeah, I mean, it cuts quite effectively. So this piece of wood was, I don't know, 2/3 of an inch around, and it cut through quickly. You can see there, did the work effectively. Here I'm going to try to actually notch out the wood a little bit, and it did the job. So I would definitely say, if you have to cut through metal, if you have to cut through wood, a tiny little saw like this, a tiny little survival saw from Tops, is something that you may want to consider. Obviously, your length of pull is significantly less than a full-size hacksaw, but it can do the job. You can also see that just pretty much immediately it's going to wear off the Tops name there. Here I've got a piece of pipe. It's a little bit more rugged than PVC pipe, and again, getting it to stay in one position while you're cutting it. I could kneel on top of it. It was just kind of a weird camera angle, but the hardest part of the whole thing with this is just keeping it stable. But it certainly cuts through PVC as well, or PVC type plastic piping. And we'll be through this in like 1 second. There we go. So that's what that looks like. Definitely does damage on it. It's not a nice, clean, smooth cut. This last thing, I just want to try it on cardboard to see what it was like. And it's better than cordage, but you can see it's basically tearing through. So if you had the ideal setup and had the cardboard very, very secure, it could probably cut through better than me just holding it. But it definitely tears through and rips through. It's like, it's putting a saw through cardboard. So it'll do the job, but better in real sawing action. So there it is in use. Obviously, it's a saw. It's not going to replace a knife. So if somebody said, yeah, take this instead of a knife, I would say, no, definitely a knife is going to function in a different way than this thing is. That said, it weighs 0.18 ounces, so extremely lightweight. It's 7 inches from end to end when it's opened up. When it's folded, you're looking at about 4 inches for that, so about a 3-inch blade. And yeah, I mean, the reason that this jumped out to me first off was that it was five of them for $23.99. So very reasonable for one. And then I thought, well, is it actually solid? I mean, I use this thing pretty aggressively on and off camera, and it's still holding up. They say that this is Kydex, the handle. I'm not sure that it's Kydex. It feels just like a high-grade plastic to me. But again, it worked. It did the job. It's got that. There's your pivot right there. You're not going to be replacing the blade, you know, when this thing dulls down, you're just going to toss it. But I would definitely consider throwing this into a survival kit or a bug out bag if you had to do a very compact one. Like if you want to have a large full-size bug out bag, then get a real saw, get a real hacksaw. You can get very small lightweight ones from Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. But if you need to get something, you know, if you're building a kit that's small and you want to have an actual saw type tool there, this could be something worth checking out. I mean, it's super, like I said, super lightweight, and to get 5 of them for under 25 bucks, yeah, it's not a huge investment of money, and I think you're adding an extra helpful tool into a kit. Now again, this is not going to fit into an Altoids tin, but you know, I'm in the process of building the survival kit that I would bring on any day hike, anytime I'm going out into the woods. And for me, that's not a massive kit. It's a tiny little kit that I can throw into any backpack or a lumbar pack or a shoulder bag, whatever it is, when I'm going out to the woods, so that if something goes sideways, I do have a basic survival kit with me. And one of these is definitely going to go into that kit. So yeah, I mean, that's why it intrigued me. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. What do you think about this survival saw? How would you use it? Would you not use it? I mean, they also say it's good for cutting through like frozen meat and things like that. Again, out in the woods, probably not going to be something you're doing, but you know, maybe around the house, you got to cut through something, and you don't have a proper knife or tool that's in the kitchen, and you could use this instead to do that. So let's get the discussion started in the comment section. Let me hear your thoughts on this thing and how it strikes you, how you would use it. For me, the bottom line is that this is certainly not a one-tool option, but it is another tool you could keep in a survival kit, emergency bag, even a little EDC bag, you know, just to be a resource for you when you're out and about in life, in the woods, whatever the case might be. So yeah, I was intrigued by it. I'm glad I checked it out, and hopefully this has been helpful to you guys to give you another thing to think about when it comes to adding tools and items into various kits or systems that you're building. Like I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. And as always, thanks for watching the videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Instagram, Tumblr, and Vero as well. More videos coming soon. Take care.